Tomorrow, August 1st, marks the 300th day of the armed conflict between Israel and Hamas-led Palestinian militant groups, which has unfolded into one of the deadliest wars in Gaza. With the war appearing to be nowhere near an end, tensions are now also mounting over in Beirut. For more, we're joined by Dr. Paik Seung-hoon this morning. Welcome back.
Hello, pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me on the news.
Of course. Israel has staged an airstrike in southern Beirut that it says it targeted a senior commander in the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah. We could see this coming, didn't we?
Following the Golan Heights Masd al-Sham's attack, Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu visited the town on Sunday and promised a severe response. And then at least 3 Israeli attacks were executed on Lebanese territory since, killing more than 500 people, which targeted a senior commanders in Lebanese Hezbollah. But yes, we knew it was coming. But apart from the Netanyahu's hardline rhetoric over the attack in the Golan Heights, public opinion of both sides is still eager to avoid war. So in military strategy standpoint, at witness and beginning of Fourth Arab-Israel War in 1970s, opening up another front will create long stretch defense line for Israel Defense Force, especially as it continues to fight Hamas in Gaza and bombardment of their enclaves is still ongoing. Waging another full-scale war with Hezbollah in their northern border, which is southern part of Lebanon, will create many problems to IDF. So tension is rising, but we need to be more cautious about possibility of expansion of war at this point.
Definitely. What's notable is that no one wants a full-scale war. That includes Lebanon. Now, Lebanon says it's been reassured that Israel's attack will be limited. The question is, where is this reassurance coming from?
Israeli official told Reuters on Monday that while Israel wants to demolish Hezbollah, it does not want to drag the Middle East into all-out war. That's why they are currently executing airstrike instead of sending ground troops. So Hezbollah also said that they are ready for war if necessary to many media outlets by saying whether it is limited or not, the group will respond. But the Hamas has also displayed their thoughts that they are wary of full-scale conflict. And it is clear that there's not much incentive to both sides to go on a full-scale war. So full-scale war is, on this point, is not that high. Possibility of the full-scale war to break out is not that high.
But what would it mean if the Gaza war, eventually, fully spreads to Lebanon, especially now that the war has, already lasted 300 days?
So, yes, a full-scale war between Israel and Hezbollah would have consequences that thwart the current Gaza conflict. So if a major Israel air and ground assault against Hezbollah happens, that the most heavily armed group in the Middle East would likely cause turmoil across the entire region and prove particularly destabilizing, destabilizing as the United States enters a crucial stage of its presidential election season. So most worrisome fact is that it is far from clear that such war could be ended quickly, or that there is a clear path to a decisive victory. So, having said that, since such war could not be ended quickly, or that there is no clear path to decisive victory, it will bring uncertainty in the global choke point of logistic and energy resources, and the impact on global economy will be massive.
Well, like you mentioned, the U.S. is on a frantic diplomatic push following, Israel's attack. Now that President Joe Biden is out of the presidential race, do you think Biden will have, less pressure or even, obligations regarding the Israel-Hamas war, or no? Would it be the same?
Never say never, but for this time being, no. So because apart from the discussion whether the diplomatic mission of the U.S. to tame the Israel will be successful or not, it is not only Biden's choice to de-escalate the tension in the Middle East. It is more of a collective decision of U.S. government and Congress. And not only the pivot to Asia doctrine of Biden or Obama, nor America first doctrine of Trump, neither of them wants the escalation of the tension or outbreak of the war in the Middle East. since both of them wanted to focus their resources, U.S. resources, more on other agendas. So the United States is leading a diplomatic dash to prevent Israel from striking Lebanon capital Beirut or country major civil infrastructure in response to deadly rocket attack on Masdal Shams. So in my point of view, and it's not just my point of view, but most of the experts are kind of like waging their opinions on, Biden administration will make an effort to de-escalate the tension in Israel, whether it will be a successful mission or not.
And it's not just the U.S. Iran has also spoken up, especially the Iranian president. He warned Israeli forces will suffer heavy consequences if it does, if it eventually did, but if it does go ahead with attacking targets in Lebanon. Why does Iran and its new president care so much about here?
We have to talk about this first. I mean, Iran does not recognize Israel and has made support for Palestinian cause and Hezbollah of Lebanon as a counterpiece of its foreign policy since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. So we could say the current president, newly elected president, is in line with that traditional stance. And as we all know, Pezeshkian is reformist, but if we look back to his presidential campaign strategy, he focused on economic recovery and domestic reformation against conservative establishment. So, of course, not the whole theocracy system of Iran. So in order to achieve his goal, he has to limit his battlefield with the conservative reactionaries. It is not Pezeshkian who cares this current issue, but we have to consider inner power struggle to the context as well, because he really wants to focus his domestic battlefield rather than expand the thing. So that's why he's coping with the rhetoric of like conservatives. So I will not going to go on make a confrontation with this thing. And on the top of that, yesterday was the inauguration. Yesterday, Iran held inauguration ceremonies of Pezeshkian, the current leadership. Then it was attended by high officials from Hamas, Hezbollah, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and Houthis. He has to send a favorable message to them. So we have to put all this in the context to understand why Pezeshkian is making this, sending this message officially.
Right, speaking from the political and historic context. All right, Dr. Beck, thank you so much for connecting with us this morning. We appreciate it.
A pleasure is mine.